Did you know that an average t-shirt uses about 2,500 liters of water? That adds up to about 900 days of drinking water. Sounds crazy, right? Let's talk about why. Okay, so to find out why, we have to talk about what impact the growth and the farming of cotton actually has on our planet. The main keyword is degradation. Throughout this video, we're going to be talking about the correlation of changing landscapes and agriculture as well as watering methods. The majority of our clothes is made from cotton, but yeah, have you ever thought about how this actually affects our environment? So there's a myth that cotton needs a lot of water, but the truth is that that is actually not always correct. But then why does your t-shirt still use this huge amount of water? Cotton is a crop that is able to grow in tropical as well as subtropical climates. You can divide the development of the cotton plant into two periods: the growth period and the ripening period. During the growth phase, the crop needs a lot of water, whereas during the ripening phase, too much water can actually be harmful. You could say that the crop needs wet feet and a dry head. Therefore, the ideal place for cotton to grow has rainy as well as dry periods. Where to find these areas? In India, Pakistan, and South America. But in recent years, we have been buying more and more clothes, needing more and more cotton. So as you might guess, people have been starting to grow cotton in areas that are not ideal. Cotton is now also grown in very dry countries without rainy periods. To still be able to grow the cotton, artificial watering of the fields is now needed, causing lakes and rivers to be drained of their water. In conventional farming, pesticides and fertilizer are used to grow the crops bigger, stronger, and much faster. Fertilizer gives extra nutrition, kind of like food, to the plants. Pesticides are chemicals that are used to kill pests and insects as well as unwanted plants. In organic cotton, neither is used. So if the plants grow bigger, faster, and stronger with pesticides and fertilizers, why wouldn't we use them, you might ask? Well, actually, they kill more than what is harmful for the plant. For example, they also kill the helpful organisms. Within the soil, there are many organisms living there. For example, insects that loosen up the soil, creating small holes that are filled with air, or as soon as it rains, become filled with water. This actually helps the roots to grow strong. Healthy ground can be imagined just like a sponge that is filled up with water. And it consists of sand, roots, different organisms, air, as well as water. When the pesticides are sprayed, these helpful organisms are actually killed. This leads to the soil becoming more and more solid, and it cannot hold as much water as before. This process is then called degradation. And as you might suspect, it is rather hard for plants to grow in this soil. To compare the healthy ground to the unhealthy ground, we're actually gonna recreate both and then compare. What you will need are two containers with the same size, sand, soil, branches, sticks, and stones, water, and a measuring cup or two equally sized water containers. Fill the first container with sand or soil until the container is almost completely full and press down slightly. Fill the second container with sand or soil and mix branches, stones, or any other natural bits that you could find within. With this container, we actually recreate the healthy soil, which has more air between the single elements and leads to better growth of the roots. Now fill the first container with water until it is full and memorize how many containers of water you needed. After this, fill the second container. Which container needed more water to fill up first? It should have been the one with more air and therefore more holes to fill. As a third step, you can actually try and plant a crop of your own in both pots and watch them grow in comparison. The easiest is to use cress seeds, but anything else you might have in your kitchen, such as flax seeds, sunflower seeds, or lentils, might work. Keep in mind that different plants need different circumstances, so not everything might work right away. So healthy soil can hold more water. In conclusion, farmers would need much less water if their grounds could hold in more water. So let's talk about the most common watering methods that are used for cotton growth. The first one is rather simple. It is flooding the field. The second method is the irrigation channel. For this method, water is canalized through connected channels on the field, watering the plants. The third method is called drip irrigation. During this method, water is canalized through pipes, but only the exact amount of water that is needed is left out through small holes in the pipes. Irrigation channels need a lot of time, which most farmers don't have and just simply cannot afford. Therefore, they refer back to flooding the fields. The problem with flooding the fields, though, is that, as said before, damaged soil cannot hold as much water as needed. And therefore, the water actually condenses on top of the field before it can go down into the soil where it is needed. As a result, lakes and rivers dry out as they are drained from their water. This leads to destroyed landscapes. Animals lose their habitats. One of the most famous examples is actually Arrow Lake. In this area, cotton cultivation is not inherited, and therefore artificial watering is needed. The needed water is taken from Arrow Lake. It has now been drained so much within the last years that it is barely there anymore. Alright, so what potential do you see in solving this problem? Can you think about any solutions? Take the discussion further and talk about it with your friends and family. To learn more about how, for example, certifications can help, watch the video about Environmental Lesson 3.